Gentleman from Wisconsin.
Mr. Speaker, this time I yield myself 3 minutes.
The gentleman is recognized for 3 minutes.
Let me recap what's happening here, Mr. Speaker. This bill has good intentions. The gentleman bringing the bill to the floor has the best of intentions. He's a good man. This bill, however, Mr. Speaker, is a fiscal facade. It doesn't work. It's not like the bill that occurred back in the 90s. This bill has no spending caps, for example. This bill exempts 40% of all the spending we have in place today. How can you say that this makes the federal government work just like the family budget when you get to exempt 40% of the budget? Families don't get to do that. If a family is already living beyond its means, if a family is spending on credit card money, if a family is spending more than it takes in, that's an unsustainable budget. This does nothing to change that. The federal government's already living beyond its means. The federal government already is on an unsustainable fiscal course. The federal government already has a $1.8 trillion deficit this year. It's passing an 11% increase in all domestic agency spending. The federal government already has a $62 trillion debt, unfunded liability. What does this PAYGO do about it? Nothing. Not a single thing about all of those fiscal problems. This is not a bill to get Congress to live within its means. This is a bill to give congressmen and women an ability to put a press release out to make it look like they're being fiscally responsible in the most fiscally irresponsible Congress of all time. Next week, Congress is going to create a new entitlement, a new unfunded entitlement that the Congressional Budget Office tells us will grow a lot faster than any spending cuts or revenue increases. We're going to create a new entitlement next week for health care on top of the other ones we already have, which are about $58 trillion in debt. We're going to do this bill after we've already spent 11% increase on domestic spending programs, after we borrowed $1.1 trillion for a stimulus, after we passed a $410 bloated omnibus appropriations bill. This is PR politics. This is press release. This is not fiscal conservatism, fiscal responsibility. And what's so unfortunate about this, Mr. Speaker, is I'd like to think we could have had a bipartisan agreement to fix this. If we actually brought the Blue Dog bill to the floor, which included spending caps like we're going to be proposing, we could have had something that we could have all supported. Unfortunately, the leadership bypassed the committee, as is usual these days, ran this thing to the floor so they can get their press releases out before they create a brand new entitlement next week. That's sad, it's cynical, it's wrong, and the American people aren't buying it, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from South Carolina.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 2